Kale and Caulifla, two of the most prominent characters that rose to the Tournament of Power scene. With their insane fighting potential, Universe 6 origins, and a fusion up their sleeve, the sky is truly the limit for their characters. But what if Goku actually trained both of these characters in Universe 6? How could it affect the future of Dragon Ball Super, and how strong could Kale and Caulifla actually get? Well, if you're curious about this topic, MJ and I will break everything down for us today. And when you actually analyze Kale and Caulifla's characters, MJ, when you look at power scaling, if Goku were to go over to Universe 6 and train both of them as individual characters, how strong do you think they can get as individuals, and how strong do you think they can get in terms of their actual fusion?
Well, when you look at Caulifla, you gotta remember this, Quinn. Caulifla in the tournament actually was swapping hands with Goku, and when you think about the fact that she utilized the Super Saiyan transformation so quickly just by, I guess, being around Kaba and taking what he said as a way to transform, and then growing stronger in the tournament and also adapting to Goku's techniques like the instant transmission, the after image, and all that stuff, Caulifla was a force to be reckoned with. Obviously, Goku goes God and easily takes her down, which sets up a quick scale for us that she is no match for Goku in his God form. However, Quinn, remember in the Batafu arc, base Vegeta, copy Vegeta, takes out Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. The yellow hair forms are monstrous in this period of time. So the fact that Caulifla can even somewhat keep up with Goku and kind of push him to that form says a lot. So if she were to actually, I guess, get some training from Goku, going off of what we know from the series and the logical power scaling we've been given, she could probably do more than Super Saiyan 3, let's just say that, you know what I'm saying? Because I mean, sheesh, dog. She grew so powerful in just a matter of a couple of days.
Right, and that's actually insane that she learned so many transformations. But what I would say about Caulifla specifically is what her character has over both Kale and Kaba is the fact that she ascends to these transformations a lot faster than other characters. Goku did mention that she wasn't ready to learn Super Saiyan God, but if he actually had time to train with her, similar to if Vegeta had more time to train with future Trunks, she could truly, honestly master God Ki. And I seriously think that based off of her growth rate of power, Caulifla could easily eventually get Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Blue had she trained with Goku and Vegeta, considering that although she is inexperienced, she learned these things virtually just as fast as those characters, so why couldn't she learn those forms just as fast? I know it sounds insane, but I could see her learning Blue.
Remember, Quinn, in the Universe 6 tournament, Vegeta does tell Kaba that he can one day reach this power when he transforms into Blue. So if Vegeta could see that in Kaba, I can definitely see Caulifla one day reaching that, especially if she has Goku training her and making her stronger and stronger.
So on the subject of Kale, MJ, what transformations or how strong do you think Kale can get, considering that she was able to actually master her Berserk Legendary Super Saiyan state and use a more controlled, perfected version of it with very little training or practice?
Now with Kale, it's never specifically stated that she has as much potential as Caulifla. However, when as the tournament continued, we could obviously scale Kale to her, because not only does she get just as strong as Caulifla, she also gets stronger. So you can scale off of Caulifla with Kale. And when it comes to Kale, she reaches many different transformations in the tournament. Obviously, we see the Broly homage, the original Berserk. We then see Mastered Berserk, and then she seems to have a regular Super Saiyan transformation. Now, power scaling, I did a video recently covering Mastered Berserker Kale and how she was actually somewhat able to withstand the punches from Goku, whereas Caulifla was literally out of the fight. So yeah, Kale was stronger than Caulifla. What a surprise, right? But with Kale, Quinn, one thing I want to bring up is that when it comes to power scaling her and what she could be in the future, I don't like to bring up the manga that much, but the manga seems to apply there's a lot more lore within Kale, that she's a demon Saiyan, that she's all this and that, and really seems to be wanting to connect her to the Saiyans of legend and possibly even Broly for what may be coming up in the future. But when it comes to Kale, she can obviously get a lot stronger, and with the fact that she scales to Caulifla and seems to be relative and not only learn the transformations that quickly within that tournament, you could possibly say the same for her, especially if you have Goku teaching her trying to get her stronger and trying to push her, because we've seen what Goku can do when he trains people. I mean, look at Gohan in the Room of Spirit and Time, and look at him and how he treats Oob in the future. I think if he were to get his hands on Kale, then he could possibly, I guess, make some magic and get her pretty powerful is what I'm saying.
However, despite how strong Kale and Caulifla can get with Goku's training, I do think we should all agree that Kale would be stronger than Caulifla considering how much latent potential she has with very basic fighting abilities. And in terms of the last thing that we need to discuss about power scaling here, MJ, we have to talk about Kefla. So we talked about how strong Kale and Caulifla would be as individuals. How strong do you think Kefla would be as a result of Goku making Kale and Caulifla a lot stronger and potentially learning Super Saiyan Blue and more?
Now, that's a very tough question, because Caulifla and Kale already are pretty strong in their own right, but then being trained by Goku and then a hypothetical Kefla on top of that, dog, Kefla was already a monster. You and I did a video talking about how strong she would be and how she would go up against a god of destruction within Topo, and we brought a lot of evidence to prove why that's a pretty hard fight to decide. So for Kefla to be that powerful, bro, in the Tournament of Power, the first tournament, if Caulifla and Kale were to be trained by Goku and then they were to fuse afterwards, you could possibly argue that she would even be stronger than Jiren, dude, going off of... Bro, she was a Super Saiyan 2 and she was swapping hands with Ultra Instinct Omen.
I think that although they would potentially be enemies if there was a Tournament of Power 2, Goku does seem like the type of guy that would want to train characters like this and to see them get stronger, considering this is a guy that made a wish just to bring back Oob so he can train him and make him stronger.
No, yeah, I agree with that. If he can, I guess, somewhat interact with Caulifla or Kale in one portion or the other, whether it be a new arc, Planet Sadala, Tournament of Power 2, he would probably train them, because Goku is that type of guy. We even see him training like Goten and Pan in Times of Peace. And when it comes to seeing a Saiyan and how fast they can grow and how fast they can utilize these transformations, then obviously he would want to train them.
Now, what do you think about, the social impact of Goku actually going to train with Caulifla and Kale? Like, what impact do you think this would have in the direction of Dragon Ball Super?
This would be very interesting. I think a lot of people for a while now have wanted a Planet Sadala arc, or they've wanted Goku and Vegeta to go to Universe 6, or they wanted the Universe 6 Saiyans to come to Universe 7 and all that stuff. When it comes to Goku interacting with them and how that could affect the show long run, if anything, it could probably just open up what we've been wanting Goku to do for the longest. I've been saying this in a lot of videos in the past, Quinn, that Caulifla in the tournament was kind of like that eye-opener for Goku, and kind of what may lead to him wanting to train Oob. That's sort of like my headcanon there. He sees a young fighter trying to progress and he goes to help her, and that kind of sets the seeds for him becoming a martial arts master. You could argue he already is in his own right, but now he actually has people to train. I feel like that could set the story moving forward, where Goku kind of takes the role of like a Whis or like a Kaio-sama, where he's the one training people. And if we get a newer show, a newer generation, whatever that be in the future, you could probably set the tone that way. I feel like him interacting with Caulifla or Kale and training them would help the show kind of get to a newer, I guess, era, if that makes sense.
Right, and I actually think there's a lot of social impacts that this could obviously have. In the case of Caulifla, we've kind of seen that she's kind of like a Saiyan gangster. I think that if Goku were to go over to Universe 6, I think Caulifla would focus a lot less on being like this Saiyan criminal, and I think she would focus a lot more on actually training, because I think Goku would give her new life and a new ambition that she's been lacking. In the case of Kale, I think that for her character specifically, since she's always with Caulifla, I think Kale trying to train with Goku would open her up to other people and allow her to become a more ingratiated character into the Dragon Ball storyline. And in terms of, Vegeta, I actually think that obviously Goku and Vegeta should go to Universe 6 as a pair, and because Kaba is so similar to Tarbal, I think Vegeta would want to train Kaba, and I think Goku would want to train Caulifla, and I think because Kale is always with Caulifla, Caulifla would also train with Goku at the same time. So Goku pretty much gets a threesome, and Vegeta pretty much gets Kaba. What do you think of that?
No, I do actually like that, because you would think they would go as a pair, and that sets up Kaba, and Vegeta, which people again have been wanting to see for a while now. So Goku training Caulifla does, I guess, in a way help make that happen. That's a way to push the show forward and to kind of give more interactions with Vegeta and Kaba, and also Vegeta possibly even meeting the king of Planet Sadala, which is something people have been wanting to see.
Absolutely. And you know, for the last part of this video, MJ, I think we need to talk about the actual short and long-term effects of this. So in terms of the long-term effects, I think obviously Kale and Caulifla would get a lot stronger, and with Kale and Caulifla being that powerful, I think Universe 6 is going to be significantly better off in terms of protection, with Kale and Caulifla learning godlike Super Saiyan transformations. And as a result of this, that would also mean that Kaba could also potentially learn it. In terms of the short term, I think the difference that this would have on the Dragon Ball series would be that Goku would be away from his family for an extended period of time if he's going to make Caulifla and Kale get this strong, unless he brings them to Universe 7 and go into the Room of Spirit and Time.
That's going to be tough because that means that Pan and Goten and them would not be around Goku, because if we're assuming that he goes to Universe 6, then he'd be gone for a good amount of time, because we're assuming there's no hyperbolic time chamber over there, so he would be gone for a while. But I think that would affect his family members, especially Pan, because Pan seemed to be very close to him, if you remember, Gwen, when it came to the last tournament when Z closed the book.
But I do think in terms of an impact, I could definitely see Goku training Kale and Caulifla in the future. And in addition, I also greatly appreciate you guys for participating in the community post where I asked you guys to vote on how you think this would change Dragon Ball history. So MJ, thanks for being a guest, buddy.
Yeah, man, no problem.
And if you like this video, you definitely want to check out 5 fusion theories that confuse Dragon Ball fans, which includes Kefla in it, in addition to Kefla versus Toppo, who is stronger, a power scaling debate that MJ and I had, and last but not least, what if Bra was a fighter in Dragon Ball GT. So until next time, stay cool and stay safe, my friends.